Hello everyone, how's everyone doing this evening? Just trying to play this fucking game. This game, man. It's fun, but god it hurts sometimes. Jesus. Alright. Anyway, the rest of it's just gonna be regular gameplay. I'm not gonna be talking a whole lot, be watching other videos and stuff while I game. So that's pretty much what's gonna be happening here on this stream. I'm trying to get used to being more talkative, but we'll see what I can get to from there. Alright, catch you later.
Are no longer able to go from one zone to another. Let's see here. Actually, let's just do hard leash. Yeah, that seems fine. Hard leash on NPCs. Yeah, quests that kill you. Quests that literally kill you. I'd say fix. Fix quests that literally kill you or change them. Let's see, besides that, hard leash is essentially the same thing. Yeah, death on DC, how to counter that. Faster logout process to avoid more DC deaths. So, like, for example, if you had a logout process that was like 5 seconds or 3 seconds rather than 20, exploitable. Well, that's the thing, right? So, like, I'll give you a comparison. Like, with Path of Exile, does hardcore lose any of its credibility because people are able to use logout macros? No. I don't really think so. I think that everybody, it's just kind of something that, well, like, as somebody who is, no, it does, but, like, to who, though? Like, I don't think it does. I don't think anybody thinks that. Everybody uses the logout macros. Yeah, if you say yes or wrong, yeah, I don't think anybody looks at it that way. Remove reincarnation and soulstone from the game? Well, yeah, I mean, well, you can't res, so it wouldn't even matter. So, everyone in chat says yes, poll it. Well, I think that a lot of the people that are saying that aren't even PoE players. So, like, because I know that, so here's a good way to test it. Every single person that plays PoE hardcore has a logout macro. They all have it. And people still play hardcore in PoE. That's because of bad game design. People would have still done that. So, here's the thing, right? So you have, let's compare the two things that you have, right? You either have people that can die to DCs, because, so, number one, I am assuming, I'll actually put this, I am assuming that Blizzard will not restore characters for any reason. So that's a big thing. I am assuming that Blizzard will not have any sort of appeals process. They will not have any sort of anything, right? They said that. Well, they didn't say that. They said, I mean, I think that that's what they did with Diablo, right? And that's what they always do, pretty much. No appeals should be given. Yeah, exactly. So if you don't have any appeal process, I'll tell you this. I will probably not spend a lot of time playing on an official realm if there is no appeal process. Because there will always be some way that some person is going to try and grief me or fuck with me or annoy me, and I just don't want to have my progress deleted. Like, I don't want to do that. That's really all there is to it. It's just that simple. Let's see, add this, remove WoW token from retail. Yeah, appeal available for only a small price of $25. Yeah, exactly. I think that you kind of need appeals. Personally, I do. And I think Classic WoW only works right now because of appeals. Because there are two different types of appeals that are, I think, super legitimate. So, the two types of appeals that are legit. Disconnects. Griefing.
What's up, kiddo?
You cannot prevent these two things from happening. These are bugs. Yeah, bugs. Actually, yeah. Yeah, if you, like, fall through the world. And yeah, you guys are right. There are 3 types. Yeah, so you can force disconnects, perhaps, so it's arbitrary. Well, I think that, like, for example, if you're fighting something and the thing is killing you, or you're in a really dangerous area, and you randomly disconnect, I think the nuance of that is totally different than if you're winning a fight and your character goes offline. Like, it's kind of obvious if you can see a clip whether somebody is intentionally trying to DC or not. No appeals whatsoever. If you don't like it, don't play. That's part of the risk. Deal with it. Yeah, I think that's probably what they're gonna do. But, like, I've got to say that there are so many ways that you can grief people in this game. And if you think that making, like, obviously there are little things that you can do, like making a hard leash range. Let's see. I think you are unable confirmation box to enable PvP. No auto flag. Yeah, I think that's another big one right there. Just don't count PvP deaths. Well, like, then you're gonna have somebody that, like, gets you to 5% health, and then a mob finishes you off. Yeah, the population of a no appeal server will be so low. There will be PvP, it's just McElraw. Yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Make quest, vendor, and bank unkillable. I don't know if you'd need to make it unkillable or not. I'm not really sure. They can just make it to where you're not forced into combat or take cleave damage from something you're not in combat with. Yeah, let's see here. Fix, scatter shot, plus feign death, re-aggro. Bug. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little bugs like that that you can do. Enemies shouldn't aggro. Yeah, definitely. Shared tags for certain mobs. I disagree with that. I don't think that's... I think that's, like, fundamentally not classic WoW. Let's see. Didn't you already assume that griefing won't be a thing because the other player will lose their character? Well, griefing will be a lot less, but no. The idea that somebody will stop griefing because they can lose their character is insane. There are a lot of very low-risk griefing situations. Like, for example, that one, you know that one ogre that does a Frostbolt Nova in Stranglethorn Vale? Well, that ogre, like, there's never a chance that a level 60 hunter is going to die to him, right? Like, it's just never going to happen. So, if somebody brings that ogre into Westfall, there's a 0% chance they're going to die. Like, literally 0%. It's not going to happen. So, there are a lot of ways that you can... And that's just the first one I can think of. I'm sure there's plenty more. So, it's okay to make it 60? I already make excuses? Well, no, I'm probably not going to play this stuff super hardcore or super seriously. Yeah, and that's I think the main thing. It's, to me, that's not a big deal to me. I don't really care about this a whole lot in terms of, like, what's going to matter to me or not matter to me, because I'm just going to play the game anyway. Or I'll play it for like a couple of days and then I'll probably do something else. That's about it. Drowning bugs, yeah. Griefers will just sit a quest mob spawn and then kill the lobies. Yeah, that's definitely true. You'll have rogues that'll do that, but I guess, like, that won't really matter because they won't be flagged. But yeah, there will be some ways that you can do that. Like, for example, there's also, like, so I think this is interesting, right? Examples of griefing. Okay. Opening. So let's differentiate these into hard griefing and then soft griefing. And these are going to be like different ways that you can fuck somebody over, okay? Number one, hunter, scatter, feign, re-aggro. Okay? Pulling mobs on top of someone. Intentionally to get them killed.
Be good.
Okay, let's see. Mob campers, that's not griefing.
What can I do for you?
Soft griefing, let's see. Trying to trick people into attacking PvP target, then killing. Let's see. Soft griefing is, let's say, walking around someone.
See you soon.
Someone constantly. Spamming trade or, like, just being annoying. This will absolutely fuck someone over. Like, if you do that to someone for an hour, they'll lose their mind. I've done it. That's how I know. CCing their mobs endlessly. Fearing a mob, etc. Some mobs, so just block trade. Well, yeah, that's the thing, is you'd have to do that. But, like, so for example, this is what I would want to do. Like, if I was trying to fuck somebody up, if I saw somebody doing an elite quest, and I knew that it was a hard quest to do, what I would do is I would run up to them and then have a macro to open up trade or spam duel against them. Because that would put a bunch of shit on their screen and distract them a ton, like, as much as possible. They're not going to cater the game towards streamers? Come on, bro. Wait, so, beep beep, I'm a Jeep. Do you think that streamers are the only ones that get griefed? I'm just curious. Do you think that nobody, like, the only people that are getting griefed are streamers? Just, yeah, like, what like, I'm actually curious what you're thinking. Yeah, it's just, it's just such a nonsensical argument. It doesn't even make sense. Like, these conversations have literally nothing to do with streaming. This has nothing to do with it. And actually, the truth is that it's even worse for regular players. So, like, for example, for regular players, the reason why it's bad is because, like, a streamer, everybody sees a streamer get griefed. Everybody sees this person, and it's like they get fucked over, and everybody's like, wow, that was obviously they got griefed. And then they get the death appealed, and that's it. But what you don't see are a lot of these videos. Like, you watch any of these griefers' YouTube channels. I've seen their videos. Like, they kill people as many times as they can. They're not doing it to streamers. They'll do it to streamers more, of course, because you get more attention for it. But the truth is that no, absolutely not. You're not just going to do it to streamers. You're going to do it to as many people as possible. Yeah, Savik showed it on his video. Yeah, they're not going around and just harassing streamers. They're doing this to as many people as possible. Yeah, and so why some people say yes whenever bring up streamers, griefers will go after anyone? Because they're stupid. And they're not, the reason why they think yes is because they're not griefers. I am. I understand what the reward structure behind griefing is. I understand it so well. Do you know the reason why you can't banish mobs that other people are fighting? One of the big reasons for that is me. Back in Burning Crusade, I was up on the Elemental Plateau, and I would farm as a warlock in the Elemental Plateau. And what I would do is I would sit there and I would wait for a mage to attack a mob. And then the second that he attacked it and he did damage to it, I would banish the mob. And the mage would wait for the banish to go away, and then I
8 o'clock. Dante, it's time to get a shower, kiddo.
would banish again. And then he would wait for it to go away, and then I would banish again. And then he would finally get annoyed, and he would start attacking another mob. And as soon as he hit the other mob, I would banish the other mob. And then the first mob would become unbanished, which means that it would run towards the mage. So then the mage would run away from him. But then he couldn't, and then he'd try to attack that mob, but then I would banish it because the cast of my banish was faster than the cast of his frostbolt. So the second that I saw him do a frostbolt, I would just banish that mob. So he couldn't cast any spells or do any damage to any mob, and eventually these two elementals would kill him. And I did this so many times, I got reported and I got suspended by Blizzard. This was not a streamer. This was just a guy on the server. And it was fucking funny. So fucking funny. I love doing that. So fucking funny. You said you've never been suspended before? I've never been banned. I've been suspended like probably 20 times. But no, not 20, 10 times. Yeah, it was so funny. And anyway, now they changed it, right? And the point is that, but you can't see his reaction? Yes, you can. Because just watching, okay, so there was this other time, oh, this is a good one. So there was this guy that I was killing over and over and over in Hellfire Peninsula on my level like 90 rogue or like level 100 rogue. I forgot whenever this was. And it was this shaman. And I was killing him, I'm talking about like 45 minutes straight. This was like maybe 5 years ago or something like that. Maybe 7 years ago, I don't know. Like I was a streamer at the time and I was like really sad that I didn't record it. I remember this. And so I was killing this kid over and over and over, guy, whatever. I was killing this person over and over and over. And finally, they had enough. They had enough, and this guy brought over a hunter in his guild. And Hunter, like, I mean, back then at least, like, there's no way I was going to kill Hunter as a rogue, right? So I'm thinking to myself, oh, fuck. Okay, this is just like, this is it. It's over. And it's also like, this is his friend. So, like, it's still the shaman's there, but the hunter's also there. So I kill the shaman, and then I vanish, and the hunter doesn't get me. I kill the shaman, and then I vanish, and then the hunter doesn't get me. I kill the shaman one time, the hunter does get me, but since the shaman had died a bunch of times, but I had only died once, I was able to respawn instantly, and the shaman had to respawn in 2 minutes, so the shaman couldn't get away. So, finally, the hunter was like, bro, we gotta get you out of here, man. We gotta get away from this dude. Fuck.
What's up? Yeah. We'll get your towels tonight.
So he gets on the sandstone drake. And I know what's going to happen. Is that his friend is going to get on the mount and he's going to fly him away. So I'm sitting there right outside of his range. And the second that the shaman reses, I sap him. And the shaman gets on him, and I kill the fucking shaman right off his back. And I vanish, and I'm gone. The shaman did not resurrect again. And I still remember, that shit was so fucking funny. That was hilarious. I loved it. So, whenever people tell me that, oh, well, these are the ways that you can stop griefing, the people that think that you can stop griefing are people that have very low game knowledge. Very, very low game knowledge. And truth is that there is always going to be a way to do that. Hyperspawns, you aren't supposed to get 3 mobs on top of you after you kill one because other people are there. Yeah, that's true. Hyperspawns. Yeah. That's a very good one. And so, there's all kinds of, like, soft griefing like that. They should remove orb, like, fearing their mobs. Mobs attack from bullshit Z-axis? Yeah, true. But you can reduce it. Yes, you can reduce it. But the problem is that if a player is able to be killed by something that's outside of their control, it will immediately make them not want to play hardcore. And I think the reason why hardcore works right now is because they have an appeal process. And I can't imagine a world where you don't have an appeal process and it's not a massive hotbed for griefing and all kinds of different types of buffoonery. You can't stop griefing. Yeah, you can't stop griefing. Exactly. So, like, unless you have a way to manage that, there's nothing you can really do. Official server, because you have to play hardcore rule set regardless? No, see, again, low game knowledge. Like, very, very low game knowledge on that one. Hyperspawn should be predicted. You should put yourself in a situation where you get mobbed on, you see 4+ players in the cave, don't think a mob will spawn on you, deserve to die. I think hyperspawns are obvious, weird video game design mechanics. I don't think that players should have to play around them. Hyperspawns, I understand their purpose, but the way that they're designed is just it's unnatural. It's unnatural and unfair to have 3 mobs randomly spawn on top of you instantaneously because of what another player is doing. Trading auction house mailbox dungeon spam will ruin hardcore. Oh, this is also another thing I think they should do for hardcore. Cut dungeon mob EXP by 90%. Buff dungeon quest EXP by 300%. So what this would allow people to do is it would create a massive incentive for them to continue doing dungeons, because dungeon content is extremely entertaining. Like, look at right here. What do people want to see? Hardcore SFD, big fucking dick, I think that's what BFD stands for, stockades, right? Hardcore molten core. Like, people are watching, they want to watch the BRD hardcore. They want to watch the dungeons. Quest or completion? Completing the quest. Like, the quest completion experience. Like, triple it or quadruple it. So that way... And so this solves 2 problems. Number 1, it makes it to where players are, like, massively incentivized to do quest lines that lead up to dungeon quests. So it incentivizes players to go through quest lines and do quests that they wouldn't naturally do. Like, for example, why would you want to go all the way to Desolus? Well, so you can get the quest to kill all the Scarlet Crusade people, right? After you kill, like, those skeletons down at the bottom of the map. But if you don't have those things, there's not really a reason to do it as much, right? It's just probably more efficient to just keep farming mobs. The risk and reward, right? You have to balance it. Also, it is boring design that people can just farm the same dungeon over and over and over and level up and never have to interface with the world. I think it is antithetical to what classic hardcore is supposed to be. And I think also it's just fucking boring. Like, you don't want to make, you want to design the game in a way that it doesn't reward players for doing things that are boring. Yeah, the world would be empty, exactly. Hardcore rules say 1 time per dungeon, I thought. I think 1 time per dungeon is stupid. I think the only reason they have that as a rule is because of the experience you can get from the dungeons. Yeah, I think it's stupid. The reason why, like, I think that if you want to take the risk to go into a dungeon and fight bosses, deal with 4 other players, just so you can get a chance at getting a piece of gear, I think that you should absolutely be able to take that chance. Because it's a risk and reward. And I think that's what the fundamental of this is that you should have things that are balanced between risk and reward. Doing a dungeon full of elites and bosses is hard, so you should get better rewards for it. But the problem is not the rewards that you get from the dungeon, it's the fact that you just level up so fast that nothing else really matters besides that. So what I would like to see happen is them to nerf the nerf the mob experience, like, not remove it, but just lower it by 90%. Like, massively lower it. Or you could even make it to where the first time you kill certain bosses in a dungeon, I don't know if they could do that, like flags your character, they give a huge quest experience, or a huge experience bonus as well. Right? But I don't like the idea that you can only do a dungeon 1 time. I think that's weird. Because of course people are going to want to do a dungeon a couple of times to get a piece of gear. I think that's fine. So you can't cheese it? Yeah. What do you think about level restrictions on dungeons? Level restrictions on dungeons. I'm trying to think about how you would do it. I would say that if the last...
So what? I'm going back to my game. You're weird. And your game's fucking weird.
Boss is gray, like their level is gray to a player, then if that player is in the group, there is no, like, nothing in the instance will drop gear or experience. Like, you can probably still enter the dungeon, but nothing will drop gear or experience. I think that's the best way to do it. or quest reward. Why? Because it would remove, because you don't want to get to a position. So why is hardcore good? Hardcore is good because it causes people to want to go out of their way to do different things in the game that they would not normally do. Right? Like do first aid, do alchemy, like basically live off the land. So if people can just boost and do, also boosting will encourage more people to buy gold, which is not a super cool thing. Blizzard will never do any of this. They'll just make death equal ghost. Done. Trading, auction house, and mailbox will introduce botting. The Iron Man rule set negates the possibility for botting. I think that there should be 2 different rule sets, or maybe 3 different rule sets for Classic WoW Hardcore. There should be Hardcore, Hardcore Solo Self-Found, and Hardcore Iron Man. Where Hardcore is just, you know, you're playing the game, and if you die, you lose your character. Hardcore Solo Self-Found is that you can't trade. And Hardcore Iron Man is that you can't trade and you can't group. I think there should be probably 3 different tiers of it. Maybe 4, but that's what I'm thinking. Bots die too much for botting? Sounds like somebody who doesn't know how botting works. Hardcore popularity is because gameplay is way more similar to vanilla and TBC, just 5 than Classic was. Yeah. People will get boosted in level and gear. They should only enter once. Boosting becomes non-effective if you reduce the mob experience by 90% and you can't get any gear out of the dungeon. How would you boost? Wait, what are you saying? So how would you boost? What are you boosting? Like the amount of kills that you have of Scarlet Myrmidons? What are you talking about? The loot? I said you couldn't get loot. Like, I literally said that. Yeah, you can't get loot. All Blizzard needs to do is not allow dungeon spamming, auction house, and trading. I disagree with that. Personally, I do. I think that the auction house, I think being able to do dungeons for gear, and I think that trading is part of the experience of WoW. And I think that removing it wholesale is ridiculous. I do, however, think that there should be a separate mode that a character can opt into on the character creation screen that does all of those things. I just don't think it should be the baseline. Does that make sense? Like, you can, of course you should have a mode for that. Absolutely. But it should not be the baseline. No auction house, but keep trading, so you have to be logged in to buy and sell. That just seems annoying. Especially with, like, selling anything that's, like, more than, you know, like, that's how PoE is. And I don't know, I think it's just annoying as fuck, though. Auction house makes shit way too easy. I mean, I don't know. People that are saying auction house makes shit way too easy, like, I mean, are these the people that are dying in these hardcore clips, like, over and over? Like, too easy for who? Like, I don't think that the game should be... I mean, like, Classic WoW is too easy. It's a game that the majority of bosses have one mechanic. Like, what do you mean, too easy? Making the game playable and fun is more important than making it hard. The reason why Classic WoW Hardcore is popular is not because it's hard, it's because it's holistic. That's not why, like, it's not because it's this, like, super hard, massively challenging thing. They literally just need to copy what the add-on is doing. Not exactly. I think that the reason why you don't have, for example, like, auction house usage and stuff like that is primarily because you can't, and grouping for dungeons and stuff like that, and people that you can't group with, is because you can't officially say this is a hardcore realm. Like, if you had a hardcore only server, most of those rules would not be necessary. They're only necessary because it's not an official server. Probably fun, it cites panic if people are close to losing their character. Well, yeah, I mean, like, to me, I would not want to play a game that's just, like, stressful for no reason. And I think Classic WoW Hardcore is not stressful for no reason, and everything that you do has a risk and reward factor to it. I think trading is good. People still have to be concerned about dying, and trading won't give them anything near immunity. Yeah, like, it's not even going to be remotely close. Whole elements of needing to use professions and all the vendors, big element of hardcore with auction house, that all goes away. So you think that people will... Well, and I think that's true, right? Is that a lot of people, you're totally right, that they only want to have, what do you call it? That they only want to play solo self-found. And I think that's totally fine. I think playing solo self-found is totally okay. But personally, I think that most people, if they had the choice, would probably not do that. Yeah, people aren't going to list mats on the auction house for dirt cheap. Yeah, I don't think so. Can't wait to see level 1 fight clubs. Yeah, exactly. Solo self-found hardcore would be fun. Yeah, I think that they should absolutely have an option. Do you think there'll be a hardcore PvP server? Probably not. The grand scheme is kind of stressful, but your day and life kind of action pretty chill if you don't do stupid shit. Yeah, exactly. And then if you die anyway, you lose all the gear that you bought. Economy keeps this is a good idea. Professions will feel like professions. Yeah, I think so too. Realize never made a skit about hardcore mode. I'm gonna write it. Go for it. They should make a hardcore PvP server. It'd be hilarious. Yeah, I think it would be. They should get rid of petrification flasks. It's a get out of jail free card. Well, like flask of petrification is like a great question. You know? How do you like is flask, because flask of petrification is a massive investment of money. Like it takes a lot of time and money to make a flask of petrification. And is it okay that a person who uses a flask of petrification and invests that much into it gets that thing? And I'm very torn on this, and I don't really know what the answer is. I lean on the side of keep it, but at the same time, I'm like 55-45 on this. I don't know. How are they going to keep people from buying gold? I mean, how are they going to keep people from botting now? I mean, you should probably have a conversation about, like, how to mitigate consequence, though. Like, hardcore is all about mitigating and overcoming consequence. It's not about dealing with consequence directly. That's the way it should work. Keep flask, remove leaving group, teleport out. Remove leaving group to teleport out. The ghetto hearth. Hardcore forces you to think. Does it really, though? I mean, like... I mean, I don't know. Like, just don't kill, like, one mob, more than one mob at a time. Like... I mean, I guess probably more than normally, yeah, for sure. But, like, it's not like it's super hard. You just grind mobs. Somewhat? Yeah, I mean, somewhat. Sure. Also, like, bubble hearthing, for example. Like, they would have to change bubble hearthing or remove it. Like, those are little things that they would have to do. One of the scripts been watching past few days is proof that people are thinking. Yeah. It doesn't require thinking. It tests your knowledge of the game. Yeah, I think that's a really good factor, is that, like, a lot of the people, like, that die in, like, these hardcore compilations, like, for example, like, let's look at how many of these mistakes were minute-to-minute gameplay mistakes versus game knowledge mistakes. This is just somebody getting fucked.
What can I do?
This is absolutely a game knowledge mistake. This is, it's bad position. Like, before they even pulled this boss, they made a mistake by being here. This was just a mistake by being here. They should not have been here. Let's see here. Next.
See you soon.
This is just the guy fell off the edge, so, like, there's not really much to say about that. This was kind of stupid. Like, this guy hit the bomb and he was, like, 10 feet away. But again, this is a game knowledge mistake. This person thought that they were far enough away. They were not. If you had played the game a lot, you would have known that. I don't think that he accidentally went there. I thought that, I believe that he thought that he would be okay being there. Right? I remember being able to get up onto these, by the way. Like, if you could jump at an angle and you could clip onto the side and then jump up to the top here. You can't, yeah, that's what I would have tried to do, and then I would hearth up at the top here. You can a path? Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so again, but that's also game knowledge, right? Yeah, those there. Like, if he had run this way, and then, like, for example, like, this is a game knowledge mistake, right? So if he had run all the way down here, like he had gone from here, down to there, and then had these dwarves chase him over to there, assuming this bomb didn't kill him, and then jump down right here, he would have been able to hearth for 10 seconds, and he wouldn't have died. So this is, again, like, this is a game knowledge mistake. This is just... Look at his health. This is just a... That's just a situation. This is a minute-to-minute gameplay mistake. Definitely minute-to-minute gameplay. Let's see here. This, I think, is a strategic mistake. Guy should have had fire resistor on, and also they should have slept one of these. If they had slept one of these, he wouldn't have gotten distracted by the tank losing all the health, because it wouldn't have gotten hit by 2 mobs. He would have only gotten hit by 1, and because of that, he probably would have been able to bubble, because he wouldn't have been as stressed out about the tank, and he also would have had fire resistance aura, and it wouldn't have killed him anyway, right? So, that's, again, what I'm saying is that classic WoW hardcore is mainly, like, for example, this is a really good example. Watch, this is, we're gonna have to watch this one again. We're gonna have to watch this one again.
Nope.
Bro, it's so fucking funny every time, man. Oh my god. Oh my god, wait. Yo, did I get DC'd? What the fuck? Okay, alright, we're gonna have to do it again? Okay, here we go.
Nope.
It's a fucking meteor. Some like Inspector Gadget spy theme. Yep, there we go. Holy fuck. Lamau. So anyway, like, if this guy had... I think this is also game knowledge, right? So, Morgresh Fire... What's his name? Fire Spin or Fire Claw? It's some... Morgresh Fire something. The guy at the top of this that's dancing. If you knew anything about Classic WoW, you would know that this bone pile is a bone pile, because anybody who goes on it will fucking die, because line of sight is absolutely awful. So again, this is another game, you know, it's like a game knowledge mistake. This is... I don't even know what this is. I'm gonna be totally... This is, I'd say, minute-to-minute gameplay mistake.
Later. I'm good for right now. Son, you have about 15 minutes! You have about 15 minutes. You want. Go take your melatonin if you haven't already. This one, this flex drop that. What is this now? Stolen journal? Oh no, fuck that. Dude, goddamn stolen journal. Shit. It's a fucking suicide mission.
This one right here is just not paying attention. This is just... That's not paying attention. This one right here. This is a game knowledge mistake. This person is clicking the blood of the heroes, as you can see it right there. And as soon as he clicks it, the mobs are going to kill him. Not a big surprise. Not a big deal. Game knowledge mistake. And what I'm saying, like, my point that I'm making with all of these deaths is that these are deaths that it should have never even been possible for this outcome to occur. Like, before any sort of split-second decision-making that you need to make in a panic situation happens, you should have done something fundamentally different.
What can I do for you?
6 days and 8 hours for level 41.
Be good.
Days.
Man. This is just sad. That was just sad. This is just game knowledge mistake. He didn't have any feathers, right? This right here, minute-to-minute gameplay mistake. Let's see. This is just minute-to-minute gameplay. Well, do you guys see what I'm saying, though, about how a lot of these deaths are mistakes that players make that they should have never even been in the position to make that mistake in the first place? Yeah, they're mitigatable disasters, exactly. So, like, that's the only point that I'm making with all this stuff. Oh, wow, we have another one. Thank God. I'll have to watch this one soon. Oops, I'm gonna move that by there. Can't wait to see you in this compilation. Yeah, for sure. Look at that's fast. Holy shit, that's fast. So, yeah, that's what I kind of think. It's like running over baby Crocs and Oldham. Yep, that was a complete mistake. I should have never been there. You are completely right.
What's up, buddy?
WoW's stupidest dragon. Wait, what? Rathian's not stupid. Rathian's cool.
With the new Dragonflight expansion coming out, we know that there are going to be multiple returning characters whose stories will continue in this expansion.
Yeah.
One of these characters is named Rathian,
Yeah.
one of the more interesting and complex characters in the game's history. The story of the Black Dragonflight Prince has spanned over multiple expansions, and the situations he's been in and the decisions he has made have been questionable
What?
at best. Let's learn about this dragon's blunders, triumphs, and ultimately how he's been labeled as one of Warcraft's stupidest dragons.
No.
The origin of the Black Prince is in a zone you probably wouldn't expect. Across the barren dunes and ravines of the Badlands, a red dragon by the name of Rheastraza is experimenting with black dragon eggs. Under the guise of a goblin, she simply goes by Rhea.
Oh yeah, I
With
remember
the help
that.
from the player characters,
Yeah.
you partake in a quest line.
Oh my god. Zelda's crafting potential is unlimited. Let me guess. Oh, it's another guy with a dick? Man. What did they expect? What did they possibly expect? What a good game, man.
Welcome back, Defenders. Jake here. Today's video, we've got a lot of good news for Ukraine and a lot of terrible news for Russia. Let's start with this. 4 Russian aircraft shot down within their own borders. Some news agencies are reporting 4, others are reporting 5, but it's definitely at least 4. Multiple possibilities exist as to what brought down these aircraft, but most would mark a major change in Ukraine's counter-air abilities. So officially, it was a Russian Su-34, Russian Su-35, and 2 attack Mi-8 helicopters. These 4 aircraft were on their way to Ukraine to conduct a bombing campaign. They thought they were safe, still inside of Russia. And someone or something shot them down. There's lots of videos online from different angles. I'll link them down below if you want to check them out. But these videos were filmed by Russians with their smartphones and then uploaded to the
What happened here? Oh shit! No, no fucking way. Damn.
Вертолет, блядь. Вертолет, блядь. Вертолет, блядь.
Damn.
Вертолет, блядь.
You guys are getting fucked.
Well met.
Ooh, they're getting
See you
fucked up.
internet. And the loss of the aircraft is important, don't get me wrong, but the bigger loss for Russia is the 9 crew members that didn't survive.
What's on your
Russia is reporting that none of the crew of these aircraft survived the crashes. Russia has factories where they can make more helicopters or Su-34, Su-35s, but to create a competent and capable pilot to fly these aircraft, that takes serious money, that takes serious time. And for the Russian Air Force, this was their worst day since World War II. It's been probably over 80 years since they lost 4 or 5 aircraft in a single day. So if you want to see a Su-35 get hit with a missile and then slam into the earth, I'll link the video down below. And if
Wait, was there more?
Открытие для детенка.
О, загорел.
Пиздец. Сбили.
Damn. But that was a fucking shockwave.
Что? Смотри, он тут прям падает.
Что, поедем рыбу?
Около 20 зданий, и Бахмут будет полностью взят. Около 20 многоэтажных зданий, не считая там мелочевку в частном секторе. Но взятие Бахмута Российской Федерации не дает ничего, потому что фланги сыпятся, фронт проваливается. И попытки Министерства обороны в информационном поле каким-то образом сгладить ситуацию, она приводит и приведет к глобальной трагедии для России. Поэтому надо прекратить немедленно врать. Если вы убежали, выстраивайте новые линии обороны. Но то, что вы подготовили для этой обороны, это не то, что может занимать эту оборону. Это просто ничтожество. И поэтому то, что происходило в последнее время, и то, о чем я предупреждал длительное время, начинает свершаться к великой трагедии для нашей страны.
Officially, Ukraine is not taking credit. The Speaker of the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said that combat aircraft and helicopters in Bryansk were shot down by the Russian air defense system. So Ukraine is saying that Russia accidentally shot down their own aircraft. How likely is that? One, yeah, that's possible. Two, that seems crazy, but still within the realm of what Russia is capable of. But to shoot down 4 or 5 of your own aircraft in a single day, I don't buy that. So more than likely, I do think Ukraine was responsible. What are the possibilities?
So, this happened in Russia today. Like, inside Russia's territory. Russia had 4 planes go down on their territory. They've been pushing Ukraine this whole time. But in the middle of their own territory, they were having tap call helicopter stuff flying around. Like, two helicopter characters went down there, and 2 jets. And Ukraine's like, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We didn't do it. So I'm wondering, because they said it was shot down by their own self-defense systems. So I'm wondering if someone just lost their shit and said fuck it, or if there was like a commando squad, like the double agent that shot those down. Like, are you ready for a show while we're using your site? Yes. In fact, let's wait. Where's 1, 2, and 5? Why not? Because they haven't died. 4 still alive. I was like, I was seeing the
And Bryansk is about 50 kilometers away from Ukrainian-controlled territory. So here's the city of Kyiv, here's Kharkiv, this is Chernihiv, and this is Sumy. And here is the city of Bryansk. This is where the aircraft went down. So either Ukrainian special forces crossed into Russian territory with man-pads, Stinger missiles, to bring these down, or Ukraine moved one of their anti-aircraft systems right to the border to get within 50 kilometers of Bryansk. That's incredibly risky to do, to move your air defense systems so close to the border where they could be hit with Russian artillery systems, but we don't know. Maybe Ukraine did move an air defense system right to the border and then immediately pulled it back. Just another variable to confuse and panic the Russians. Now they don't feel safe flying helicopters within 50 kilometers anywhere of the Ukrainian border.
What's on your mind?
Next big problem for Russia, Ukraine's Storm Shadow missiles have arrived. The United Kingdom has confirmed that they sent these Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine, and this article is from May 11th. So within 2 days, Ukraine used these on the Russians on the front lines. So let me give you the quick specs to the Storm Shadow missile, and it has a maximum speed of 1,000 kilometers per hour. The warhead is 450 kilograms, operational range 250 kilometers, and it flies at a very low altitude, only 30 or 40 meters to avoid detection. That's going to become important in a second. And here is what the Ukrainians chose to hit. This is a military barracks and command post in the city of Luhansk. And this is outside of the Gimler's range, launched from HIMARS, of 80 kilometers. So the Russians, working here and staying here, felt they were safe, that Ukraine couldn't strike this building, couldn't strike this compound. So there's a lot of Russian military bloggers right now furious that Russia didn't relocate these people. It was known to everyone since 2014 that Russia was using this as a military base in Luhansk, and they didn't do anything to relocate or conceal where the command post was. So the first day that Ukraine got the Storm Shadow missile, they immediately took out this command center in Luhansk. And we're pretty confident it was a Storm Shadow. One, it was beyond the 80-kilometer range of the Gimlers, but Russians are posting pictures online of debris of the missile, and it says right there, Storm Shadow use only. So how it started, Russia had all the tanks in the world, Ukraine just had some javelins. How it's going now, Russia only has a T-34 for their parade, and Ukraine has long-range cruise missiles, so it's going pretty good, Russia. Let me share with you this quick video. This is Gun Cheryenka. He's a member of the Ukrainian parliament, and he wants to thank the people of the United Kingdom.
Thanks to the United Kingdom for all support we are receiving in Ukraine, and today again the UK shows leadership, delivering to Ukraine missiles, long-range missiles, Shadow Storm. God bless the King. Thank you to Secretary Wallace, thank you to Prime Minister Sunak for this decision. The friendship between Ukraine and UK is so strong that all enemies will be defeated. The storm is gathering. Slava Ukraini!
I don't know how many of these Storm Shadow missiles the UK can send to Ukraine, but even if it's a limited number, they're already having a huge impact on the battlefield. The next interesting piece of news, evidence of an ADM-160 miniature air-launched decoy used by Ukraine. This is a US-made MALD, and it's used to help clear paths through enemy air defenses for friendly aircraft and missiles. So the Russians shot this down and they posted pictures online. The serial number is right there, ADM 160B. So what the heck is this and what does it do? Though hard details remain limited about how ADM 160s may have been used in relation to the strike yesterday in Luhansk, but the decoys would pair well with other various capabilities Ukraine currently has or might receive soon. So this is what a MALD does. MALDs, for instance, could significantly improve the survivability of higher-end standoff strike munitions such as the UK's Storm Shadow, which Ukrainian forces may have already used in limited numbers. They would be doing so by giving Russian air defenses far more.
The best way to learn about dialogue is by studying the good stuff as well as the bad, and that's what we're going to be doing today, so stick around. What's up guys, my name's Brandon McNulty, I'm a writer, I'm the author of Bad Parts, and welcome to my writing channel. One of my subscribers requested a video on good dialogue versus bad dialogue, and I thought that was a great idea for a topic because obviously there's a lot of things you can learn from good dialogue, but sometimes good dialogue can be intimidating on its own, especially when it's some of the best stuff out there. Now, on the other hand, when we learn from bad dialogue, not only do we get to see other people making mistakes, but we can have a lot of fun in the process. And for today's video, I'm going to be explaining what makes good dialogue good and what makes bad dialogue bad, and I'm going to be having examples of both. I want to start out by explaining what makes good dialogue good. And I think there are three things that help define good dialogue. The first thing that good dialogue does, it sounds natural. And this is going to vary from character to character. Obviously, what Marty McFly from Back to the Future says in his movies wouldn't work in Lord of the Rings. And what Frodo says in Lord of the Rings wouldn't work in the world of Back to the Future. So you have to be aware of who is speaking and in what world they're speaking. But regardless of who your characters are and where your story world is, the dialogue has to sound natural. The second thing good dialogue does, it attacks or defends. And that's because good dialogue involves conflict. It involves characters trying to learn something that another character doesn't want to tell them. It involves characters trying to push a worldview on another character who is defending against it. Your characters should always be wanting something in their scenes, and they should be trying to obtain information through dialogue exchanges. And the third thing that good dialogue does, it expresses unspoken meaning or subtext. And this means that there's some kind of meaning beneath the surface. And I think the best way to think about this is that when you have the spoken word going back and forth between two characters, you have to remember that there's got to be some emotions hiding beneath it. For instance, if you've ever seen a married couple arguing about something stupid, you know that what they're really arguing about is much bigger than that stupid thing. They're not arguing about whether or not they're going to have chicken for dinner tonight. They're arguing about some kind of conflict that's going on within their marriage. So keep that in mind. There should be some higher stakes beneath the spoken words in your dialogue. Now we're going to talk about bad dialogue, and for this video I came up with 5 specific types of bad dialogue. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go through each type, I'm going to explain what it is, then I'm going to give you an example of the bad dialogue, and then I'm also going to give you a good example that you can use in its place. Now the first type of bad dialogue is on-the-nose dialogue. This is when you state the obvious. It's when you're just stating thoughts and emotions without any subtlety, without any subtext. There's nothing beneath the surface. You are just saying exactly what you're thinking or exactly what you're feeling. An example of this type of bad dialogue comes from Attack of the Clones. It shouldn't surprise anyone that I'm going to be talking about Attack of the Clones today. But in Attack of the Clones, if you remember the one scene where Anakin and Padme are talking beside the fire, and Anakin just completely spills his unfiltered emotions out to her. It's completely on the nose. I'll play it for you right now.
Now that I'm with you again, I'm in agony. The closer I get to you, the worse it gets. I'm haunted by the kiss that you should never have given me. You are in my very soul, tormenting me. Believe me, I wish that I could just wish away my feelings.
And this is, of course, on-the-nose dialogue. It's stating exactly what he feels. It is not natural, and it feels totally cliched. It feels like something that's just coming out of an afternoon soap opera, and because of it, we just, we don't buy into it. It doesn't feel real. And it's just dull because there is no deeper meaning here. He's just saying exactly what he feels. There is nothing to read into. Now, if you want a conversation between two lovers that is a lot more fun, take a look at Back to the Future, the early scene between Marty and his girlfriend Jennifer. They're discussing their upcoming romantic trip to the lake. I'll play it for you now.
Does your mom know about tomorrow night?
Ah, get out of town. My mom thinks I'm going camping with the guys. Well, Jennifer, my mother would freak out if she knew I was going up there with you, and I get the standard lecture about how she never did that kind of stuff when she was a kid. I mean, look, I think the woman was born a nun.
She's just trying to keep you respectable.
Well, she's not doing a very good job.
Terrible.
Okay, so notice how neither of these two characters outright states how they feel about each other. It's obvious that they're boyfriend and girlfriend, they got this thing going on, they're hoping to hook up at the lake, but the feelings here are all in the subtext. The dialogue itself is just a lot of fun, and it just dances around the subject of the romance, the sex, everything else that's going on. But it's much better than the Star Wars example because neither one of these characters is outright stating, oh, I'm so crazy about you, I love you, anything like that. It's much more fun when they just kind of hide their feelings a little bit, even though we know what's going on here. The second type of bad dialogue is melodrama, and I've talked about melodrama on the channel before, and what it is, it's emotion that is way over the top. It's emotion that is not earned. Sometimes you'll see stories where two characters are just yelling back and forth at one another, but you don't really care about the conversation. You don't feel the anger, you don't feel the passion or anything like that because it isn't earned. That's what melodrama is. Now, for an example of melodrama, I want to take it from one of my favorite video games, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I love this game to death, but it opens up with a prologue that has some absolutely horrendous dialogue. Now, for context here, the only thing you really need to know is that the guy in blue here on your screen, his name is Richter. He's a vampire killer, and he's going after Dracula. And once he meets Dracula, this happens.
Time, monster. You don't belong in this world. It was not by my hand that I'm once again given flesh. I was called here by humans who wish to pay me tribute. Tribute? You steal men's souls and make them your slaves. Perhaps the same could be said of all religions. Your words are as empty as your soul. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you. What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. How about you?
Okay, so obviously the voice acting here is bad, but one of the dead giveaways that it's melodrama is the fact that everything Richter says ends with an exclamation point. It's just a lot of yelling back and forth, and this dialogue exists purely to create a sense of conflict that really isn't there, and because of that, it just comes off as laughable because it's just so over the top. So you don't want this type of melodrama in your stories. Instead, try something like what the Castlevania Netflix series does in this next example. And it's a very similar scenario. We have Alucard, who is the son of Dracula, going into a confrontation with Dracula, and they're going to have a conversation here. Pay attention to how different it is from the first example I gave you.
Father. Son. Your war is over.
Because you say so.
It ends in the name of my mother.
It endures in the name of your mother.
Okay, so notice how the dialogue in this confrontation is toned down and measured out. You can feel the emotion boiling beneath the surface of their words, and that's so much better than what we got in the first example where everybody's just shouting back and forth. In this second example, the two characters are practically restraining themselves from lashing out, and we get the sense of the subtext, the emotion that is underlying it. And also we get the verbal battle, the back and forth. It sounds natural. Everything about this dialogue in the TV show is considerably better than what we saw in the video game. Now, the third type of bad dialogue is exposition, specifically exposition that involves characters discussing things they already know. And this is often called the as you know Bob exchange. Basically what it means is that if you have two characters and one of them is named Bob, you might have a scenario where one says, as you know Bob, the house down the street has been haunted for decades. Or, as you know Bob, my wife works at the supermarket so she can help your kids get a job. Or, as you know Bob, we're just saying this so that the audience can understand where the plot is going. That sort of thing. The as you know Bob exchange is not what you want in your stories because it's just a cheap attempt at telling the audience something. An example of this comes from the first Lord of the Rings movie. If you remember the party at the beginning where Bilbo's celebrating his birthday, and Bilbo and Frodo have this exchange here. Pay attention for the as you know Bob moment.
I'm very selfish. Yes, I am. Very selfish. I don't know why I took you in after your mother and father died, but it wasn't out of charity.
Okay, so in this example, Bilbo and Frodo are discussing something that they both already know. Neither one of them is really gaining anything from this conversation. It's purely there so that the audience can be brought up to speed on what happened to Frodo's parents. And frankly, it's just lazy writing. Now, on the other hand, if you want to explain something through a dialogue exchange, do what they do in John Wick. Now, if you remember early on in the story here, Vigo, who is the main villain, he tells his son who John Wick is, and he does it in a way that is very cool and very creative. I will show it to you right now, and the key thing to know here is that Vigo's son is not aware of John Wick's history.
It's not what you did, son, that angers me so. It's who you did it to.
Who? The fucking nobody?
That fucking nobody is John Wick. He once was an associate of ours. We called him Baba Yaga.
Boogeyman?
Well, John wasn't exactly the boogeyman. He was the one you sent to kill the fucking boogeyman.
Okay, so this is much stronger than the Bilbo-Frodo exchange because Vigo is telling his son something that he doesn't know, and it's also something that the audience doesn't know. We finally get to learn who John Wick is, why he's such a threat, why people are afraid of him. And one thing I really like about this dialogue here is that Vigo never actually calls John Wick a hitman or an assassin. That kind of things, if he were to say either one of those, that would be on the nose. Oh, John Wick was a great hitman. John Wick was a great assassin. That's kind of boring. Instead, he gives this vivid description about Baba Yaga, the boogeyman. He's the one he's sent to kill the fucking boogeyman. Those are some great details. The fourth type of bad dialogue is forced poetry. Sometimes you have characters who normally speak like everyday people, and then some kind of event arises in the story. Maybe it's like romantic related, or maybe it's like a big moment in the story, and all of a sudden they start speaking in flowery language and purple prose and whatever it may be. And it just doesn't sound like them. It sounds totally unnatural. I think one of the most notorious examples of this is Anakin Skywalker's "I hate the sand" speech. I'll play it for you right now.
I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere, not like here. Here everything is soft and smooth.
Okay, so Anakin should not be talking like this. It's way too flowery, and it just comes off as unnatural. Now, this isn't to say that characters who speak like everyday people can't have a poetic moment every now and then, because you can have characters who are gruff and nasty, and they come away with a line of dialogue that comes off sounding pretty poetic. But the thing is, you have to keep that dialogue grounded in their character. Here's an example from Game of Thrones. It comes from the second season, episode 9. It involves the Hound, who is the head of the Kingsguard. And in this scene, he decides that he is done with the Kingsguard. He is abandoning his army. And in the scene, he has a poetic moment, but it is still something that sounds natural coming out of his mouth.
Your Kingsguard, Clegane. We must beat them back, or they're going to take this city. Your King's city.
Fuck the Kingsguard. Fuck the city. Fuck the king.
Alright, so that exchange, the fuck the Kingsguard, fuck the city, fuck the king, that is poetic within the context of the Hound's dialogue. That is something that, you know, it sticks with you when you watch the show. It's something you don't forget because of the way it is delivered, the way that the dialogue is arranged, yet at the same time, it's not flowery. It sounds natural coming from this character. And then the fifth type of dialogue is wooden dialogue. This is dialogue that is too formal, it's too stilted, it sounds completely unnatural. And one of the best and funniest examples of wooden dialogue comes from the original Resident Evil back on the PS1. And all you need to know in order to understand the context here, Resident Evil takes place during a zombie apocalypse, it takes place inside a haunted house, and the main character, her name is Jill, she is trapped in one of those rooms where the ceiling falls down on you. She's basically like a SWAT team member, and she's calling for help, and one of her friends manages to save her. And after she is saved, just listen to this dialogue.
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life. But Barry, didn't you say you're going back to the dining room to do some research? Why on earth are you here?
I just had something I wanted to check. Now, Let's get back to searching for the lost captain and Chris, shall we?
Thank you, Barry.
Yeah.
Okay, so that dialogue is so bad that it's good, and it's bad again. Obviously, if you're writing a story, you don't want to write like this. You don't want to be repeating Barry's name 4 times. You don't want Jill saying things like, "Why on earth are you here?" like she's 10 times her actual age. You want to avoid these things, and what I actually did here, I rewrote the dialogue so that it works and makes sense and fits the characters. So here's the rewrite. It's very simple and to the point. You okay? Yeah, thanks. Thought you were headed for the dining room. I got sidetracked. By what? Nothing. Listen, we should keep searching for the others. So with this rewrite, it's very simple, but at the same time, it's natural. You believe that these SWAT team members would say things like this. You're not having them say things like, "Why on earth are you here?" So it's totally natural, and there's also that attack and defend going on here. Jill attacks with that line, "Thought you were headed for the dining room." Barry, he defends with, "Well, I got sidetracked." And then Jill attacks again. "By what?" Barry again defends. He says nothing. And that, of course, puts questions in the reader's head. We're aware that there's some kind of subtext. There's something going on beneath here. Barry is not being honest with her. And that makes us wonder, well, okay, what else is going to go on in this story? So I hope this helps. Question of the day: what is your favorite line of bad dialogue from a movie? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel, please pick up a copy of Bad Parts if you haven't already. Also, be sure to check out my other videos. Hit the like and subscribe buttons for me. Share this video with a friend. And as always, remember to keep on writing.
A lot of people have asked me to watch this video, okay? I don't exactly know what's going on. I've been tagged in, like, tweet threads about this. Like 50 times. I'm not even kidding. Like 50 times people have sent me this video to watch. Upper Echelon Gamers has been like a content creator I've watched for a long time. So we'll see what this is. Apparently I think this is the guy Business Casual, and it has something to do with copyright. So let's figure out what happened. Here we go.
This video is brought to you by Guardio. Stick around to hear more about the discount they're providing to the entire Upper Echelon community. Also, it's not keeps, so no one gets to clown on Asmongold if he does ever watch this. Here's the...
Okay. I can see why you guys wanted me to watch this.
Business Casual, owned by a man named Alex Edson, whom I've covered before, has filed 3 deliberate strikes for just a few seconds of content based on public domain images against a channel named Magnates Media. Those strikes have initiated a countdown, at the end of which his entire livelihood and a very successful channel he has devoted the past 5 years of his life to.
Let's see this channel here. This is an extremely successful channel. Look at this. Like almost 4 million views, 1 million views, 700, 2 million, almost 1 million, 1 million, 2 million. Yeah, this is very successful channel.
Will be deleted.
Great
full
thumbnails.
scale. I consider this to be the fraudulent attempted assassination of a competitor's career, and 8 months ago, I tried to warn people. Alright, the title is kind of extreme, I get that,
watched
but
the original
I'm pretty sure
video.
it's justified, so please hear me out. Let me know at the end if I'm right about that. Here's the situation. A while ago, I covered a lawsuit against YouTube as a platform by a channel named Business Casual. Not just any lawsuit, this lawsuit was being pursued by a man named Alex Edson, who recently...
I talked to this guy a little bit, the Alex Edson guy, and he wanted me to watch the video, and I haven't actually. I feel like I thought that this kind of thing died off, so it just wasn't going to go anywhere. But considering this is still going, because I told him I would watch the video, right? Because I thought it would be fair to give 2 people, you know, their side of a story. I think that's fair. But we'll see what's going to happen. It sounds like a trap. Well, it's not a trap. I mean, like, he just wanted me to watch the video. It's not saying react to it on stream. It's just saying watch it for yourself.
He bought the YouTube channel. He was not the original creator or the person behind the videos, and had now decided that a few seconds of his footage served as justification for taking down the entire Russia Today YouTube network. Alex Edson, in a rather long, high production value video, which, contrary to what he says, was not being suppressed at all, and many of you have likely already seen, went on the attack and asserted that YouTube was undermining America and helping the Kremlin, because a channel had used a few seconds of their copyrighted parallax animations. This is the part where I tell everyone to go watch a bunch of additional videos for context. I know that's annoying, so I'll try to summarize in a very, very fast way. There are 3 videos that I made down below to back up every single one of these claims, piece by piece, as well as a link to the original Business Casual lawsuit video.
Yeah, I watched one of these. I didn't watch, I think, another one. One of them I might have watched. I don't remember.
What do you want from me? Welcome.
Good day.
I will cleanse this wilderness. Evil dwells within this cave.
welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2, the grand finals of the World Team League's Kung Fu Cup, a $1,500 weekly tournament, bringing out the best of the best, including this Terran player who has quietly snuck his way back into the top 5 in the entire world. He's on a tear lately, the Terran in the blue, the People's Terran. It's Cure. And a worthy challenger from another continent. We have the Wall, D. Mauer. It's showtime. His European counterpart. Two solid macro players facing off. I think the underdog in this match is showtime. But we'll see what he has to show us this time as he kicks it off with a Stargate, a best of 5. If you like the longer series, if you like spending a little more time with these top tier players, well, hopefully you like this video. And I issue you a challenge yet again.
No. Oh yeah, I imagine you start getting used to it.
Yes, last time I asked for 1,000 and, you know, I'm not exactly sure what the number is, but I'm gonna round up. 1,000. If we get 1,010 likes on this video, I will cast another series of StarCraft 2 tomorrow. And I'll probably do it anyways, but yes, make the difference today. And I'll take recommendations. I may ignore those recommendations, but I will take them. I'll be happy about them. Usually. So, starting things off, and also it's kind of crazy to me that we're having a $1,500 weekly tournament. There's still so many tournaments in StarCraft 2. There's almost, I believe last year, of tournaments worth over $100, there were over almost one for every day of the year if you add it up. Somewhere like 250 tournaments. I mean, it is a 1v1 game, which means it's easy enough for Beyond and Dark to show up to most of them, but Cure, one of the hardest working players in all of StarCraft 2. He's called the People's Terran, not only because he makes a lot of relatable mistakes, but because he's such a hard-working player. Like, he's never, well, besides being the GSL champion, he shows up to almost all of these tournaments, large and small. You can count on Cure to make a cameo appearance and put in the effort. And that's why he's one of my favorite players. Always so entertaining to watch. Also, any player who's going to make a few little mistakes just to make things interesting. Well, that's not really why he does it, I think. But it makes it a lot more dramatic, too. Since there is always that chance the game will turn on its head. As much as I love watching Cyril, it's a little like watching a Disney movie. You know how the outcome... You know that if we're considering Cyril as the good guy here, you know the good guy is probably going to end up winning. At least, what you're being led to believe. Whereas Cure could go either way. I do think these players have a very similar style. Like, Showtime has built his name off that defensive Protoss that just doesn't seem to work so well at the highest level, as Protoss has a very, very small margin of error in finding success, I guess, when it comes to defense, as they are very reliant on cooldowns and fragile units to make sure they do well enough. And now, all right, 5 SCVs have gone down to the Oracles. A Viking drop attempt, as well as a Hellion run by, as both these players, the skirmishes on either side of the map, will claim a handful of workers. In fact, Cure losing 7 SCVs overall and a variety pack of early units, but that will not slow down the general trend of his bio production. He's got 3 Rex, Stim, Combat Shield +1, triple threat, ready to go, Medivacs, already done. The other, I don't know where the other Medivac went, decided to come back home. So he's lining, oh, he's going right back out. Okay, so maybe a little bit of select all army action there. But sending out the Medivac, triple threat done. Showtime does have a 3rd Nexus locked down right now. He's got it set up. He's got 59 probes, and he stopped probe production in order to supplement his infrastructure. which I think a smart move, as a lot of Protoss players get a little overzealous before they get their Zealots. Oh, he finds the medevac, but it's already far enough by. The Marines should be able to unload. There's a Colossus in production. Extended Thermal Lance just started, boosting past. And a bit of an awkward setup here. Means that the Marines... Okay, well, eventually the Phoenixes will pick them up and knock them down. But here comes Cure with the main force. Though a bit disjointed on the attack. He ends up sending in the medevac, everything dies, and then the next attack comes out. So that should give Showtime a little bit of preparation. Though, half a dozen Widowmines with the army. The Raven launches anti-armor missiles, shredding the defenses of a whole bunch of the Protoss army. Interference matrix on the Disruptor, gonna disable it for a few extra seconds. But overall, Showtime's defense is impeccable so far. Disruptor shot, wards away. Targets a Widowmine down. Showtime looking solid so far. Able to rotate him into position and bring his units to bear before Cure is able to slice into the natural there. But Cure does have his third command center on the way. He does still have 53 SCVs, and that's just off of 2 command centers. So far, Cure has not found the damage, but he still has such a dangerous army that Showtime can't risk anything more than maybe a Zealot run-by trying to come out. I like the diligence. Only stims his Marines, then stims everything else when he sees a 4th Nexus on the way. Probably gonna have to cancel that, does so immediately. Revelation used, detects the Widowmine, picks it up, but there's a second one, slams into the Phoenix. 4 Zealots split off to chase. Ghost Academy is on the way. Showtime getting +1 ground weapons, but he's not even close to finishing it now. Whereas Cure already has 1-1 on the ground. Though I don't believe he has an armory, which means the Widowmines do not remain cloaked after firing, and he can't start that +2/+2 quite yet. Showtime somehow missing vision over to the right flank. Not able to spot this army before it comes in, takes out a few probes, and burrows the mines in order to take out some Zealots. Showtime needs to get that vision back out on the field. It's very hard to maintain it against an active Terran player, but it is required if you want to play defensive. And once again, the 4th Nexus shows up, knocked down immediately by Cure's army, which is waiting for it. Another Widowmine connects. Another one picked up before it can do too much damage. The Phoenixes remove a lot of the Marines out of the fight, dropping them down back into the fray. The Zealots kited back, concussive, doing a lot of work here to slow down the Zealots. But there's no Marines left. Okay, just one. But that means the Phoenixes are actually going to be able to chase down the medevacs and get a decent victory on top of the win on the ground. But another army stimming in. The barrage of Terran, the onslaught, the deluge right now just continues swarming across the map. The Zealots are warped in to defend. The Phoenixes take out another couple medevacs. Zealots charging forward. EMP lands. Ghosts have joined the fray, in case it wasn't clear. A scan spots the army, but Cure maintains the aggression. At this point, the best defense is a good offense. The best way for Cure to keep Showtime under control is to keep him bottled up in his base, because things get extra difficult when you got half a dozen charge, lots of Warp Prism, what have you on the other side of the map. But Cure's done a good job towing the line between overextending and playing too passively. And he's caught up overall, both having a worker advantage. It's 72-67. The one glaring issue for Cure is his upgrades have slowed down. He's just now getting the armory. He focused on getting his tech up in the form of ghosts for the most part. So just now getting the armory means Showtime's been given a bit of space to catch up on the upgrades. L+2 infantry weapon starts. We got Vikings on the way. Good against Warp Prisms. Great against Colossi. Just okay against Phoenixes. Warp Prism heading in, but the Vikings are already in position to intercept. Oh, the Warp Prism has to back off. Looks like it will get away for now. Alrighty, 4th base planetary. Showtime up to 74 probes. We got quite a macro game on our hands. Still could go easily either way, as both players have suffered similar losses. Cure's actually... Oh, he knocked out the Prism, which does open up some space on the map. Cool. EMPs wipe out the energy and the shields of the Phoenixes mid-map. Showtime splits his army into defensive pieces, enough to defend the third base and then the main brunt of the army towards the fourth, trying to take a fifth. Well, EMPs land with the Colossi on the back. Some guaranteed damage. Phoenixes taking down the Medivacs. Charge Lops covering for everything else on the ground. Picking up some of the valuable units. Well, I guess Marauders. I thought he would get some of the ghosts with it. Still, a bit of energy on those Phoenixes, but mostly being used to knock down the Medivacs. Medivac count down to 3. For 20 Marauders and 28 Marines. Quite a sizable ground force from Cure, but Showtime is near 200 supply as well. A similar worker count. It's just he rarely has most of his army in one place at one time, understanding the real danger. Oh, Disruptor shot connects! Oh, but this one clips a few more. Those Disruptors just smacking across Cure's army and killing the momentum of the push. And I think that's enough. And even though Cure is able to replace those units immediately, he can't warp them in. And that means he has to fall back for now. The Medivac count, dangerously low. Well, it's back up to 5, but he had to reproduce some of those Medivacs, and it's cost him a lot of map control. As Showtime now getting +2 weapons to match the +2/+2 of Cure. So just that slight armor advantage for Cure. But this is about as far as Showtime's been able to maneuver out on the map. Widowmine finds a connection, but the Zealot's undeterred. EMP also hits the Medivacs as it goes for the Phoenixes. And that means next to no healing. A huge bio-army could be caught, cornered, and killed. Now, of course, those units are still very dangerous, unless you're able to bring overwhelming force to bear. A few Disruptors. I mean, the most clear bait and switch here. Will there be a recall in time? As Cure is heading for the third base. If there was going to be a recall, well, I think he EMP'd the Nexus. Cure sends his army out. Of course we're going into a base trade. Cure's army going to cut down the third. Showtime takes out one of the bases of Cure. Whoa, with danger close Disruptor shot. A lot of the tech is vulnerable. They say never base trade a Terran, but at this point the choice has already been made. Showtime trying to get enough damage done on the other side. DTs are warped in, but they get a valuable ghost. Force out a scan. Planetary, under attack. Force field, zones out the repair. More SCVs gonna go down. 40 probes in the last minute. Vikings hit the deck of the main. Going for the Dark Shrine, but the DTs are warped in to defend their home. The scan comes out, but the DTs are slicing through the Vikings. What a weird scenario this is. But DTs do indeed beat Vikings on the ground. EMP prevents the recall at another base. Widowmines are making things difficult for Showtime. He's down to 13 probes. He's losing so much economy. He decides to continue going forward. 63 probes down. Almost less than he started with. Still some Phoenixes out in the field. More EMPs to prevent the recalls. Warping to DTs, but EMP reveals the Dark Templar, as does Scan. And Showtime is getting his economy eviscerated back at home. But Cure is bottled up in his main. Disruptor shots in the streets right now. Jammed in between the barracks. Cure, his army, Showtime's down to 2 probes, which is, you know, not great. Phoenixes show up once again, more EMPs, firing Disruptors out. Cure maintains a supply lead, but it's all bottled up into his main. Showtime will live, but he has to rebuild from 2 workers, so he doesn't really have a lot of time to sit back as he's cutting his way through. He still has a very dangerous army that could potentially... How does it come to this? Neither of these players able to win on the field, so they try to circumvent it entirely. Still a few Widowmines dotting the field, including at Showtime's natural. Starport taken out. If he takes out enough of the orbitals, well, the Disruptor shots in the main. Cure trying to save his units in the Medivacs. And another Ruptor finds a connection. Cure now at a supply disadvantage. The boys are on the way back. Anything to distract. More Disruptors. Volley front side. Phoenixes lift everything. Disruptor shots dotting the field. EMPs all over the place right now. Medivacs trying to do the work. The Marauders underneath trying to come down the ramp. Disruptors almost entirely eliminated. Colossi helping out so much. It's still so close. And Cure picks up and he heads from his main. The Colossi, a single disruptor, but 2 DTs. How are they even in the red HP? What happened to those DTs? I'm not entirely sure, but the DTs may save the day. Detection or lack thereof. Widowmine takes one of the reinforcing stalkers. It's still so close. Oh, he's within range of a turret. On the edge of the main. There's a single... Oh, he gets it. He gets the mine. So important. The Marauder's stimming forward, but the Disruptor! It goes wide! The DT's targeted down. Marauders in the air. 2 Colossi. How is it this close? Cure now has more medevacs than Marauders, but still. There's Widow Mines limiting the... Cure's now the one down to 2 workers. Ah!
I've the finest wares in the land.
Well. Is that the last orbital? Cure doesn't... Well, he can't lift it very easily because of the, How many DTs? None, which is not very many. EMP. 3 Marauders. He's using the turrets. The turrets are his last defensive tool. There's just not that. I think Showtime's got it. Well, he can outrange the turrets. There's still a planet. Oh, come on. It feels like... Well, Cure. Showtime holds on. He has to be very wary of the turrets. But Cure has lost all but... How does it come to this? Showtime back up to 20 workers, gonna warp in a few zealots. He still has a Dark Shrine. He could cancel his shield upgrade and get some money back as well. Widow Mine. Oh, the zealots though. Cure! Those Widow Mines so valuable, but it's not enough. Oh my. Oh me, oh my. Wow. Well, that was certainly an experience. Showtime manages to thread the needle there. He holds it together as Cure kind of flounders in a base trade. I think losing all those Vikings in the main, as well as kind of a ham-fisted fight in his own main. Wow, Showtime holding on, showing that stability, that concentration. Like, he might not be perfect, but he really prioritizes incredibly well. And it pulls through in game 1. What looked for a few moments like Cure may run away with a base trade, Showtime kept that unit composition together just enough. God, how many fights are so close? Anyways, we're going right into game 2. Dragon Scales. They've switched up the colors, but it's not too bad since it's not a mirror matchup. Oh. Okay, well, with an appropriate start. Neither player able to take the fight they want on the field, so they just avoid it entirely. Cure fighting in the streets of his own main. Just not quite enough. I like how he pulled the boys. There's something profound about pulling the boys from, like, his 4th base back to his main. I don't even know if that was intentional, because it felt like he kind of noticed the SCVs were there, and he's like, oh, I guess we're going. Here we go. But, wow, what a roller coaster. Yeah, the Kung Fu Cup bringing out the most entertaining plays. Make sure to check out the World Team League, by the way. Thank you, the WTL, for sending me the games. All they asked was I mention it's from the World Team League. So if you get an opportunity to watch it live, make sure to do so. Maybe not too much. Maybe just like put it on in the background so you can have recommendations for me to cancel it. But give them some support. After you like and subscribe, of course. Showtime. What's up? What about you? Taking a break? Yes, Protoss players all about not going over that 16 mark, even though technically you can. It's still efficient, but the most professional players will avoid that for a few seconds in order to maximize at the natural. Ooh. Okay. It was a pretty exhausting game one. Of course, Ancient Cistern is such, like, the larger the map, the more likely the players are, the armies are just going to get into these spots where they can't. Kira was very diligent about EMPing the next side he was attacking, which, without energy, you can't recall. So, that was the intent of it, kind of forcing Showtime into that base trade. But once again, Kira gets into a wacky base trade, and once again, he kind of fumbles at the goal line. I do think there was a good opportunity for Kira to come out ahead, but we're in a new game. The Oracle taps the Hellion on the shoulder, and the Adepts finish it off. Another Stargate opener. I like it. I like it. I'm a big proponent. Oh, what? What did he kill the Adept? Oh, we missed the bait and switch. He let the Adept into the main and then killed it with a mine. Clever girl. That open door is sometimes just an invitation to death. The Adept took it, it seems. Showtime with a quick third Nexus. Cure, once again, opting for a lot more production off of 2 bases. Now he's got the Raven, he's got the 3 racks undeterred. I think the smaller the map, the better it is. And the Dragon Scale is one of the quickest rush distances we have in the map pool. So, against someone who's opening multiple Oracles, once again, there's a lot of opportunity to get solid damage with a bio push, especially the Raven. Building up energy, essentially able to shut down any key robo units, and if it's not robo, if it's just like a bunch of other units, then you got anti-armor, which we saw last game. But it was just Showtime having a little bit too much, too quickly. But this time around, it's Twilight Council and a robo. But the Twilight Council indicates we're not going down that Colossus rush route, but instead, Blink? Oh! Breaks the lock with a little pickup, sets it right back down. It seems like a Blink build. But, oh, he goes with Charge. He does go with the Robo Bay, which feels like a lot of different directions at once here. Especially since he knows that Cure is going for the 2-base timing. So, we'll see how it works out for him. Showtime getting the Robo Bay, getting Charge. He opened a couple of Oracles. So the big danger is going to be the first. Oh no! Well, at least the Phoenix takes it. Here with some cute Widowmon juggling. So we'll see. As yes, clearly the big danger's got to be right as the triple threat hits. Combat shield, stim, +1. Gets an Oracle as well on the way out. So, here comes Cure. Charge is not even done. Disruptor is on the way. Raven is filled with energy. It's going to have 130. Not quite enough for 2 interference matrices yet, but getting there quickly. Couple Phoenixes here. Ooh, well, Raven bruised, but still intact. Scan. Charge isn't there yet. Anti-armor missile. Whoa, that's not enough stuff. That's looking... Well, force field's good. Disruptor shot. Hits nothing. Does force back for now, but he just decides, why go into the shield battery area when you could just depower the Robo. Widowmon burrows. Ooh, ends up hitting one of the Adepts. Kills the Disruptor. Jams himself in between the pylon and the edge of the base here. Another one. Disruptor shot. Nothing. Already the damage is really being done, even if Cure doesn't win off this. Yeah, it does feel like Cure sharply executed timing and executes Showtime in game 2. Just a few too many directions. That's why a lot of the time you'll see the Blink instead of going for Charge. Disruptors and Charge lots have a very tense relationship. Mostly because the charge lots are continually wondering if the disruptors will shoot the charge lots in the back. And the disruptors are totally saying, just trust me, bro. I'm definitely going to hit the Marines and Marauders. Unfortunately, I don't know if any of the disruptor shots hit any Marines and Marauders. Just not the most reliable unit early on. And Cure ties it up with a clean execution.
Yeah, I think... oh, there's another one. Space Age Zelda. What's a dragon? Wait, what? He's just being attacked by a fucking... it's like a satellite. Look at his health. Yeah, he's got a minion build. He's got full health, too. He's not even taking damage. This guy just got fucking annihilated. No way there's another one.
The evolution of Zelda Warfare. Level 1 Medieval.
Just runs him over.
Level 2 Moving Gun.
Okay. 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 That's cool. Very cool.
Level 99 Armored Tank.
What? What?
Level 120 Prison Tank.
What? Oh my god!
Level 999 Battle Run.
What? Oh, there it is! Oh my god. Uh-oh. Target acquired. Oh fuck. This is nuts. How is this Legend of Zelda? I love how the first day people were building guys with dicks, and on the second day they're building airplanes and like satellite like beam cannons. Space Daddy Elon Musk plays Zelda versus us satisfied just building a Starforged dong. Oops! Starforge logo is being used in the new Zelda. Okay. It's great, guys. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate these. Video everybody wants.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You underestimate my power!
Oh, I hate you.
Forgive me, Master.
I love you, Anakin!
Sector 4 needs reinforcements. We are being overrun. Repeat, we are...
Du hast mich. 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 Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt und ich hab nichts gesagt.
cause I can't justify the way everyone is looking at me. Nothing to gain, hollow when alone, and the fault is my own, and the fault is my own. I wanna heal, I wanna feel what I thought was never real. I wanna let go of the pain I felt so long.
What you need? Quite possibly. What was the other one? Yeah, I can do that. Oh, gotcha. Here, give me a second. Let me run to town. Let me turn in these 2 quests and run to town. We'll do that.